So in this segment, I've got a very simple goal. I'm going to try and make the case that Europe is actually worth saving, that it has achieved some quite remarkable things.
That's a pretty easy case to make, I would
say. I don't think it's going to be enormously challenging, but I'm going to give it a go all the same.
It's nice to have some remoralisation.
This was put in my head because we tend to do fairly black pilly segments all the time. And I saw a clip on the interweb last night that was so inspiring that I thought I had to build something around it. So basically, the setup here, and then I'll follow on with the rest of my argument, is a chance encounter in the Rome airport. For whatever reason, the Rome airport has a piano just sort of lying around. So if you're any good at the piano, you can rock up and play a bit for people passing by. And on this occasion, a couple of young girls had their violins with them as passing by, and a rather sort of beautiful encounter happened. And this is the sort of interaction which is the product of many centuries of European culture. And it's a bit of a long clip, but it's so enjoyable. I thought it was worth playing in full. So a little bit of background here.
That girl, she looks a bit Asian.
Partially. I mean, the other one doesn't so much, and the mother looks. I don't know. It doesn't matter whether it's slightly Asian or not. The point
of music is the important.
The point is, I mean, the piece of music they're going to play is Vivaldi Winter from the Four Seasons, so written around 1720, and of course the Four Seasons they are supposed to engender a feeling of that season. So this one is going to be the winter movement. So you get the sort of fast-pacey, choppy violin bits, which is supposed to represent, sharp changing winds, sudden dynamic shifts, unpredictable winds.
Right? Yeah.
Was that?
Biting cold, snow.
Yes, exactly, all that kind of stuff, and descending violin runs to give you the effect of gushing wind slides. But just look at this and just think about the centuries of European culture that culminated in a chance encounter like this. Play this for us, Jack.
Can you play
This?
Can I play with you?
You want to play with me? Okay, like both of you?
Yes.
Okay, sure, let's try. Ready?
Pause it there, but you get the idea. This is...
You almost listened to the whole bloody thing then. You might as well have finished it off.
Well,
that is very, very impressive of those two young girls. I have been trying to learn that piece on guitar for a little while. It's absurdly difficult at parts.
It is apparently
playing the violin as well is
yes.
a very difficult instrument to play, because it's not like guitar, like you or I might play, where you can actually see what you're doing. You've got to keep the violin under your chin, you kind of have to not look at your fingers. which makes it a lot harder when you've got to learn something. And for girls as young as 11 and 8, that's amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, everything about that. I mean, the fact that you've got aeroplanes taking off in the first place, you've got basically a high trust society. You've got the craftsmanship of the piano, the piece of music itself. I mean,
violins.
It's
dedication to perfection that allows young children to get to that level of technical mastery as well.
It's an example of many things that have worked in order to bring this together. So I think that's quite remarkable, and it got me thinking. Look, there's a lot more to European culture than that in itself is remarkable.
I will have to sadly say that I always feel when I see videos like that they are highly staged.
Possible, but
someone's going to be saying it in the audience, and I just have to say that I agree with you. I mean, all the camera angles.
Wow.
But
But also, they did still play it.
no, that doesn't take away from how impressive it is.
Let's just believe because we want to. Many examples of remarkable European culture, and I'm just going to pick out. I won't be able to come anywhere close to doing justice to European culture in a 20-minute segment. But here's a thread looking at marble sculptures. So that image you're seeing there, the hand in the net, that is marble.
That is the culmination of a lifetime of experience there, isn't it? It's just what is made possible by European economies is that you can dedicate yourself to your craft for the entirety of your life and become a master.
Well, I mean, often these masters could be in their 20s for some of these things.
They've been training since they were quite young.
I was waiting for you to say something like, he was 16 when he sculpted this.
They start very young.
In this one, the
oftentimes
wings.
these kinds of artists would not necessarily be making money from this. They'd be like sponsored by
patrons,
a patron, an aristocratic benefactor.
This is what is possible once you get rid of child labour laws.
Yes. In this one,
that's one takeaway.
In this one, the angel's wings are so thin that they glow when the sun crosses through.
That's very impressive. I've not seen that before.
Another very...
this is a very famous one where you can see how the skin creases underneath his hand.
I mean, the skull and etc. This is an old one. This is a 2,300-year-old Greek statue.
Blimey. That's very impressive. It's a work in bronze as well. I'm no expert, but I can imagine that's not easy in the... I imagine that would be...
I mean, I find marble very impressive because, of course, all of this sculpture was... And that sort of silk handkerchief, all of this sculpture was already there. He just removed the unnecessary parts, but making sure you remove precisely that to end up with that level of workmanship.
And you
make one mistake and the whole bloody thing's ruined.
But Dan, I've been told that culture is people being rude, noisy, and uncouth in the streets.
No,
wearing
no blackpilling, Harry. No blackpilling. We're doing European culture in this segment.
And eating various disgusting slop foods from corner shops.
No blackpilling.
This, as far as I've been told by most people throughout my life, this isn't culture. This is nothing.
This is evidently culture. Look at that.
Yeah, clearly.
Marble.
The fact that you can see, go back up to the marble fabric one there.
Yeah.
Go back up. The fact that it's giving an illusion of transparency, where you can see the contour of the leg. Behind it. That is magnificent.
There is more culture in that one image than the entirety of the south of the equator. I would dare to say.
Hey. Argentina's all right.
That's another.
And Australia. And
if you like the illusion of transparency in marble, look at that.
That's very impressive. I've seen it before, but it's
tremendously same there. Many great examples. Let me get to the tiny muscle in one of Michelangelo's statues. Here we go. So So what's that? This is the
that's part of the forearm musculature.
So it's like a tiny tensor muscle in the forearm
that only contracts when lifting the pinky, and you can see his hand seems to be lifting the pinky a bit there. So you're paying enough attention to detail to know to include that, judging on the position of the hand and the fingers on it.
As we're talking about European culture, it is the little finger.
Yeah, I mean that is.
Sorry, I was reading from the thing.
I know you were.
That is on Michelangelo's
Moses
there. So I mean that is a tiny detail of a huge piece of work, and he got that tiny detail in that forearm. I mean this is what the European peoples have produced. Now,
Very Italian heavy so far, isn't it?
So far it has been.
I've also been told Italians aren't white, which is not something I agree with.
Yes.
Of course they are.
Now, Michelangelo died, of
that's a
course, in
stupid thing to say.
1564, so he's unable to order a copy of The Islander, but I'm sure he would have done because he has the sort of aesthetic appreciation necessary for enjoying The Islander. We get no money whatsoever from YouTube because they don't like us, because we're too based. However, you can support us by buying The Islander magazine. You'll notice that this edition features a beautiful cathedral on the front. Now, funnily enough, that was going to be my next set of points. Let's have a look at some cathedrals. So this is the Cologne Cathedral in 1880.
Well, not in 1880.
It was built in 1880.
It was built in 1880.
Thanks, pedant.
Yes.
Dan managed
Taking
to
my
find
job.
this incredible photograph
They had helicopters.
taken from a helicopter. The Europeans, the man that
They were
made
better than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
This is the Christ Cathedral in Albania.
So that's what all that drug money is going to.
Yeah, well, they've got to afford those Mercedes.
Still a nice structure. Well, this one is nice.
Yeah.
This is
Andorra. They've got a very
Andorra.
distinct architectural style. Whenever they come up on GeoGuessr, I know it's Andorra just because of their architecture.
Andorra's the tiny city-state in Spain, isn't it?
Well, it's sort of a micro-state.
Yeah, micro-state.
I wouldn't even say there's a city.
Yeah, because I've been there before, and it is you have to travel through hours of mountains to get there.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, though,
Many,
isn't
Oh yeah, it's lovely.
many fine examples. Belgium, the Cathedral of Our Lady Antwerp, 1521. If you do want to,
Was that finished in 1521?
finished in 1521? Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't knocked up in a year, but
Well, yeah, obviously.
if we are going to allow ourselves just a little bit of black pilling in this segment, I mean, just ask, if we are going to take people from other places, what were they doing in 1521?
Not much.
Bosnia and Herzegovina. There you go. I'm really spreading it around cathedrals. They're all over the place, but
And
yeah.
in my local town, there is there's like a miniature cathedral, the local church that was put together. Well, it was originally started 700 years ago, was finished 600 years ago. So that's been around since the 15th century. And
Bulgaria
it's
represented
magnificent
there.
on the inside.
1912.
One thing we have done very well is look after our churches in Britain. It's one of the things that Continentals say about the British is that we really care about the preservation of our history more so than most, which is, I think...
Oh, thank goodness we're not in France. I mean, the amount of
blimey.
churches going up in fire there. Oh, no black pilling, sorry. Positive only. 1535. A cathedral in Croatia there. Ooh. What's this one? Cyprus.
Getting a bit out into the frontiers there.
It's still beautiful, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's
I-
got its own distinct style.
I
Like the
think-
white stone.
Is Cyprus still Europe? I think so.
I would say so. It's pretty close to Syria, though, isn't it?
Yes.
And the Turks. Parts of
9th
it.
to 19th century, so the builders were really dragging their feet on that one.
10 centuries to build it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There were probably a lot of invasions and wars holding them up over there.
Yes. What do we got here? Czech. Oh, I've been to this one.
I've been to this
Czech
one as
Republic.
well. I've got a picture of myself under it, and it's
I've still not been
beautiful.
to Prague.
Yeah.
Looks lovely.
Oh, Prague is a remarkable city.
It is. It's one of the nicest places I've ever been, and I've been to quite a few places in Europe. So that's saying something.
One wonderful aesthetic to it. What else have we got? Oh, Denmark. Denmark are getting in on the action. Another distinct style there.
Very pointy.
Yes, I like.
Is that
I like
for
that.
snow? Don't get snow on your roof if it's very pointy.
That's true. True. Very, very, very snow resistant shape is pointiness. What have we got here? Estonia. Tallinn.
Tallinn is another one of those beautiful places. It's on pretty close to the top of my list of
Yep.
places I want to go to because I've seen lots of pictures and it looks gorgeous.
Again with its own distinct
I'm assuming
style.
that that's an Orthodox church.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. It's got that Orthodox
Baltic,
style.
isn't it?
Yeah. Bit of Finland.
That's
Enough style, I suppose. Not the one I would have gone for.
It looks like if someone made the US Congress building or the White House a lot more Orthodox Christian.
Yes.
See, playing Dark Souls has conditioned me to feel that inside
Boss.
each of these cathedrals is a twin blade wielding boss battle waiting for me.
That's how the Japanese get you.
Like, I'll walk through, and the priest will be stood there with a sword in each hand. Music will begin blaring, and I will be in danger.
Oh, I like that. Greece, the monastery of the Holy Trinity, in 1476, some poor sod had to climb the side of that thing to build everything you saw there.
Some people had to lug stones all the way up there for probably centuries to get all of that built.
But again, the product of European civilization. There's Budapest, and there's so many remarkable examples. Oh, that's a bit like the front of the Islander, isn't it? This one, whatever that is. Iceland.
Iceland. It's in Reykjavik.
Do either of you want to give a go pronouncing the name of that one?
Hallgrímskirkja, I think.
Come on, Harry. We're about equivalently Viking, aren't we?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell just looking at us, would you? But,
Hallgrímskirkja.
Yeah, I think that might be it. Icelandic people watching this, if you are watching this, feel free to punch me next time.
I've listened to enough Bjork that maybe I've imbibed some.
Ireland's done themselves proud with that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ireland's got loads of beautiful
St.
buildings,
Finn
yeah.
Barrett's
Yeah.
Cathedral, Cork.
Also, cathedrals always look amazing in the snow, don't they?
Yes.
Oh, that's a classic, isn't it?
Back to Italy again.
All of Florence is just beautiful, isn't it? At least
Remarkable.
a lot of the bits I've seen.
Latvia. What is this one?
Liechtenstein.
The point is that Europe has done itself proud on not only sort of music but architecture as well. Now, naturally, what happens is when you decide to import Europeans, people who put together remarkable architecture like this, you tend to end up with stuff like this. So this is what is it? This is
New York Old Penn Station. No, this story makes me sad.
It is, yes. So this is the New York Penn Underground station that was built, and look at that. That is up there with the cathedrals. That vast.
I'm trying to think of what films that's been in because I've seen it in a few films. I didn't realise it closed down.
I think
it was only open 50 years.
Yeah, was
really?
It? I think it's in the Untouchables, isn't it?
I don't know.
The one about
yes,
tracking down Al Pacino. Not Al Pacino. Al Capone.
Yes. But I mean, look at that. I mean, that you import Europeans and you get European level architecture, and it's just a crying shame that they decided to replace it with some boxy utilitarian communist.
Go on, break it to me. Show me what they replaced it with.
Oh, I didn't feature that.
No, that's the Penn Station building nearing completion in 1904.
Oh, right, okay.
There you go.
That was the original exterior.
Putting it together, but that was one of the dining rooms off to the side.
You told me that was Paris. I believe you.
Yeah.
Got that sort of.
So look, I'm just.
Americans who accuse us of hating America. We don't hate America or Americans. We are sad of what's happened. The same as the way we're sad at what's happened over here as well.
Oh, somebody in the comments is saying it's Chicago. Okay, well, it's either New York or Chicago. I don't bloody know, but anyway, the point.
Oh, interior of Pennsylvania Station, circa 1911.
Right.
Museum of the City of New York.
Okay. Well, the point is that immigration isn't automatically bad because look, if you import Europeans, you get this, which
the Native Americans weren't exactly building that, were they?
No. Philosophy. Should we dip into that?
Why not?
All right, Carl.
I haven't got anything to show you on screen, but I just thought I'd pick out a few bits that spoke to me. So, Heidegger, a German chap, in Time and Being wrote, "Man acts as though he were the shaper and master of language, while in fact language remains the master of man." The conduit through which you communicate ideas end up moulding those ideas through the medium of which you communicate them. So language necessarily twists the idea that passes.
It's a good way of dressing up the chicken or egg to sound very intellectual.
It does explain Germans, though.
It does.
Yeah, I'm getting something different from it because what I'm getting from that is that it's why your intuition is less corrupted than thoughts that you can perhaps articulate. Essentially,
your
what I'm getting
intuition
at
is more authentically yourself because it can't be interfered with by language.
Yes, I mean what I'm sort of going with is that maybe there's something to visceral stereotypes.
Well, that's definitely true.
Yes.
We did a contemplations on that, didn't we?
We did indeed.
Yeah, you should watch it. Whichever one it is, you can find it. I believe in you.
Immanuel Kant, Prussian, which is
Another German.
almost a German, possibly a something
They
else.
don't.
No ancient Greeks here?
Oh, I think I've got some coming up. Kant, Critique of Reason. Enlightenment is man's emergence from self-imposed immaturity. Immaturity is the inability to use one's understanding without guidance from another. This immaturity is self-imposed when it causes lies not in lack of understanding but lack of resolve and courage to use it without guidance from another. Dare to know. So basically think for yourself, chaps. What are you saying there?
No. Help me.
No.
Tell me what to think, Dan.
Don't rely on what you receive.
You're old and you've got grey in your hair. You must know better than I do. Tell me what to do.
Well, read some Kant, you can't. So, literature. Should we go on to literature?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go on.
Don Quixote, this one, I think, speaks to our modern time. An extract from that. When life itself seems lunatic, who knows where the madness lies? Perhaps to be impractical is madness. To surrender dreams, this may be madness. Too much sanity may be madness, and maddest of all, to see life as it is and not as it should be.
You absolutely butchered parts of that.
I'm very ill. I've got my Lucas Aiden. But it speaks to our modern condition that to accept the world as it currently is absolute madness.
Certainly, I agree.
Would you like me to read the next one to save your voice? I know.
Yes, go on then, because I'm flagging here.
This one is from Dostoevsky, from Crime and Punishment, which is, of course, 1866 and in Russia. Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. The really great men must have great sadness on earth. Sorry, you can read the next one, Harry.
All right, shall I read from Hamlet?
You give us Hamlet then.
Hamlet, 1600, which Dan has labelled the ultimate tragedy of existentialism, and I've really set myself up now, so I can't I can't get a single word wrong.
You've also got Shakespeare to read.
I
now
do.
As well.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them.
This makes me think of Conor McGregor in Ireland, because that's the sort of that's the situation he's in at the moment, isn't it? Because it's to be or not to be. It's basically saying, how much shit are you going to take? Are you just going to suffer it? Are you going to be? There's a follow-on line that comes after this. Thus, conscience does make cowards of us all. Basically, how much shit are you going to take before you get involved? Before you take arms against the sea of troubles. I'm not Fed posting there. Metaphorical arms.
A lot of this seems to be wrapping back around to your idea of intuition and gut instinct guiding people. Conscience makes cowards of us all. Don't hesitate.
Yes.
Don't allow yourself to be intellectualized out of taking action.
Yes. Because European culture is worth defending. Yeah, there is a consistent logic that were slightly better, then I might be able to communicate more effectively. Let's do a little bit of science while we're skimming through some of the European achievements. Heliocentrism, put that on there. Copernicus, 1543. The awareness that sun and not the Earth is the centre of the solar system.
Not necessarily well received at the time, but we warmed up to it, didn't we?
We did indeed. I to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if I agree with this one myself, because
what?
Well, because the centre is an arbitrary concept. I've read the Kant, and I'm thinking for myself. You can designate any point you like as the centre of the solar system. It's just that the orbital maths are considerably easier if you pick the sun.
And you don't need to be so uncharitable to yourself. You've always been a free thinker. Yes.
Germ theory. Pasteur and Koch, is that how you pronounce it? France and Germany, 1860s. He figured out that germs are a thing. Mm-hmm. He could have simply spent a week in the Lotus Eater's office and he would have figured that out, but they got to it through whatever method.
That is one of those ones where that changed the quality of human existence more than pretty much any one discovery.
Yes, it's definitely up there. I mean, as with all of this, I mean, there's so many monumental European achievements that I'm going to get criticism in the comments no matter what I leave out. The structure of DNA, Watson and Crick, one of them was very based, I seem to remember. The discovery of the double helix structure of DNA
from the 50s. So
yes, and I feel that I need to make. In fact, what have I included? I've included a bit of philosophy, a bit of opera and classical performance. I've included a little bit of architecture, and I've left out mythology, folklore, theatre, drama, cinema, fashion, leatherworking, manuscripts, calligraphy, cuisine, wines, spirits, chocolate and confectionery, like Belgian chocolates and Venetian pastries. I've left out universities and scholarships, religions and mystic tradition, festivals and seasonal celebrations. I've left out navigation and cartography. There's a hell of a lot that I've had to leave out while celebrating European culture, because
you're talking about the best continent to ever exist on planet Earth.
Well, quite. And
I'm not saying that to insult the North Americans. You're a product of our culture and therefore an extension of it. All of the continents, Australia and New Zealand as well.
And a lot of the South Americans are also a product of us through one way or another.
That's true.
Or at least not us, the Portuguese mainly.
Yes.
And the Spanish.
And
Germans.
And you do have to make this point, because this is standard thinking on the left. I've quoted here a bit of the Owen of the Jones, who says the single biggest cause of violence in human history is the belief of Western Europeans and their descendants in their own superiority. And Europeans actually are superior. It's just self-evidently true.
Well, there's a reason that all of the people everywhere in the world are moving to countries founded by Europeans or are European themselves. You know,
yes.
You're not getting lots of people moving to India or Africa or
yes.
any of the other countries.
Well, and when I say that, that Europe is superior, because it is, I'm not trying to take away any of the sort of tremendous value that you could accrue to other civilizations. Japan, to pick one random example.
The ancient Chinese were pretty good.
Yes, I mean there is
kind of tapered off in recent years, but
there is plenty of value to be had in other cultures. I'm simply making the point that Owens-Jones is being a complete tit here, because of course there is much to celebrate about Europe, and Europe evidently is superior.
Yeah, the Mongol invasion of Japan was because of the belief of Western Europeans in their superiority.
Exactly.
How?
It's because the Mongols were running away from the racist whitey.
On all that steppe land that they were so trapped in.
Yep.
That's the thing about the steppe.
They got closer and closer west. They got over to Hungary, and then they ran away. He said, all of these white people are far too bigoted for me.
They don't like it when we raid their land and plunder their cities.
No, that was very bigoted of us.
So a sweeping arc through European culture there, a very quick one. Rather than simply mention European culture, I have to give a quick call out to the European people themselves, and I'm going to give you an example of quite exquisite peak German engineering. I don't want any backchat from Harry during this one, but can we play this? Don't play that one, play the other one. Right. So for those of you who are listening, this
about
is
the music idea.
This is not European music being played.
This is a testament to precision. This is elegant, sleek flowing lines that provide a harmonious blend of form and function, with a presence, grace and poise that belies sheer capability, a fluid grace, engineering for optimal and efficient performance.
I feel like I've just walked in on Grandad watching the gymnastics.
So those of you who are listening may not have fully appreciated that last bit, but peak German engineering. So well done to the Europeans, and you've created a tremendous culture.
Islander issue 3 is now available to purchase from shop.lotus.com and is the next step in the story that we are telling with this magazine. For this issue, we have collected piercing and esoteric essays from the finest right-wing minds on the theme of our civilizational winter. Each of our authors is an expert in bringing forth the most important hidden revelations from the lowest reaches of the soul, and it has all been beautifully rendered in a medievalist revivalist aesthetic. For this issue, I commissioned a new translation of the ancient Anglo-Saxon poem, The Wanderer, and have written a companion essay exploring how it is a reflection of our modern experience. I personally feel that this is the most important thing I've ever written, so I will be looking forward to your feedback on it. We have resolved our distribution issues, with the magazines being printed in advance of the orders, so we can guarantee that you will receive your copy very soon after ordering it, and you will also receive emailed updates so you can see exactly where it is. Hopefully, issue 3 can provide you with the space and context to engage in deep reflection about the nature of our circumstances, to discover hidden truths about yourself and find the resolve to make it through our spiritual exile.